By now, you are familiar with the requirement to register your rental units and how to navigate the rental registry. This episode will help you ensure you are correctly applying for an exemption from the provisions of the ordinance. Note that it is the property owner's obligation to determine if their property falls within any of the exemptions under the rent stabilization and just cause eviction ordinance, and applying for an exemption does not guarantee it will be granted. For the purposes of the rental registry, you have the ability to claim your entire property as exempt. We will refer to this as a property exemption. There also may be an instance where only some of the units on your property are exempt. We will refer to this as a unit exemption. To help determine whether or not your property or units qualify for an exemption, please reference Section 8-3120E and Section 8-3147C4 of the ordinance. If you determine that a qualification exists, you may proceed with the steps in this video to apply for an exemption. If, after review, you believe your property or units may qualify for exemption from the provisions of the ordinance, here's how you file an exemption for each type. By this point, you should have created an account in the rental registry, added your property, and updated your contact information. For assistance with these steps, be sure to watch the first episode in this series titled Navigating the Rental Registry. First, let's go over how to do a full property exemption. Go to the top of your property profile. On the top right, click the blue Action button and select Apply for Property Exemption. Now, fill out the form. Select the reason the property may be exempt, upload the required documentation, and ensure that everything looks correct. Then, click Submit. To see the status of your case, scroll down in your property profile to the bottom where it says My Cases. You should see the case under Status Pending Review. An email notification will be sent to your preferred contact once your case is processed, and the case status will be updated in the dashboard upon staff review. Now let's go over unit exemptions. This type of exemption can be done to one or more units within a property. First, make sure all of your units are added to the Unit Inventory section of the rental registry. For assistance with these steps, be sure to watch the first episode in this series titled Navigating the Rental Registry. To request a unit exemption, look for the yellow three-dotted button to the right of the unit you wish to request an exemption for. Click it, and in the drop-down menu, click Apply for Exemption. Now fill out the form. Select the reason the unit may be exempt, upload the required documentation, and ensure that everything looks correct. Then, click Submit. To see the status of your case, scroll down in your property profile to the bottom where it says My Cases. You should see the case under Status Pending Review. An email notification will be sent to your preferred contact once your case is processed, and the case status will be updated in the dashboard upon staff review. Remember that you must submit an exemption request for each unit you believe is not subject to the provisions of the ordinance. After claiming any applicable exemptions in the rental registry and completing all of the sections on the registration form, you are ready to submit your registration. Before you submit your registration, be sure to review your entire registration form to ensure its accuracy. Once you've finished reviewing, go to the top of the property profile and click the blue Action button. Then click Submit Rental Registration. A tab should now appear asking you to acknowledge that you cannot request exemptions after submitting registration, and the total number of exemptions will be shown, if any. If everything looks correct, click Submit. After you click Submit, a new pop-up will appear stating that the registration was successfully submitted and your property status will be updated. Review the user guide on the city's website for more information about each property status. You have now completed your registration form in the city's rental registry. The city will reach out to you if any further information is needed to complete your registration. Remember that requesting an exemption does not guarantee it will be granted, so be sure to include proper documentation and proof for qualification. If your exemption is denied, you may be required to enter additional information before your registration form is considered complete. Also note that exemptions cannot be requested after registration is completed and may be required to be resubmitted annually during the registration process. Thank you for taking the time to register your rental units in the rental registry. If you have any questions, you can visit our website or contact the Rent Stabilization Program at 714-667-2209 or by email at rso@santa-ana.org.